I have some excellent news coming directly from President Trump that will help all Americans. We're learning more about President Biden and his stupid ideas, plus how he tried to sabotage President Trump. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett violently attacks a journalist in the Capitol. Now, many on Capitol Hill are calling for her to be removed or censored. Plus, more details about the Signal chat and whether Pete Hegseth divulged top secret information. Thank you so much for joining and liking these videos. Let's jump into the news. I have some good news from President Trump for Americans and restaurant owners. Egg prices in the United States have significantly decreased by approximately 59% since February. This drop has been attributed by some to economic policies implemented by President Trump's administration. The decline has sparked discussion, with some viewing it as evidence of economic recovery or effective policy making. However, there's also commentary suggesting that the topic of egg prices has been politicized, with less attention given to the issue now that prices have normalized. The egg price started when Biden ordered 150 million egg-laying chickens to be culled or killed. I believe this was a political hit job to make life expensive under President Trump, as eggs are in many of the food that we produce and eat. It also was 100% to make President Trump look bad. Now, no one with a brain blamed Trump because the murder of these chickens happened well before President Trump took the oath of office. Now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., HHS Secretary, recently criticized the Biden administration response to the bird flu, claiming that he and most of his scientific team actually opposed the killing of 150 million egg-laying chickens. Speaking out in middle of March, RFK Jr. argued that the mass slaughter, which he says was which has fueled the ongoing egg crisis, was unnecessary. He suggested isolating and testing therapeutics on affected flocks instead, asserting this disease does not spread through food. Kennedy accused Biden's team of pushing the mass killing, despite experts saying this is not as big of a deal. Now, the Trump administration tackled soaring egg prices by importing eggs from Brazil, Canada, and other countries, doubling imports from Brazil. This targets the bird flu-driven crisis, which killed 150 million chickens and has dramatically brought the price of eggs down. Now, this is what we call practical spending. And let me know in the comments, would you rather that President Trump use federal dollars to lower the price of goods and services and food, or send more missiles to Ukraine? You guys already know where I stand, but I think Trump did a fantastic job. Now, attacks on President Trump from lower judges continues. 3 whack job federal judges in California have just ruled that President Trump must import 40,000 illegal immigrants into the country because Joe Biden signed off on it. Melissa Keeney, a progressive lawyer with the International Refuge Assistance Project, stated, "We welcome this continued relief for tens of thousands of refugees who will now have the opportunity to restart their lives in the United States." Well, guess what? Unless their lives are really in danger, all you're doing is guaranteeing that you have a job in the future and that the American taxpayer ends up with more cost for illegals. As expected, President Trump did not react kindly to the news. This doesn't put America first. In response, Trump issued a directive stating, "I therefore direct that entry into the United States of refugees under USRAP, U.S. Refugee Admissions Program, be suspended immediately." Now, according to Breitbart News, Biden's administration had already brought in 197,000 refugees by October of 2024 and had plans to fast-track the arrival of another 125,000, costing the American taxpayer $2.5 billion. Now, this isn't the 15 million that were allowed to illegally invade the country. These are the ones that they were flying in the dark of night and then telling the media, tell everybody that this is a lie, that we are not bringing illegals in on prepaid air flights covered by the American taxpayer. Well, now the truth is out. Despite President Trump's directive, these judges contend that his executive order does not effectively halt the flow of migrants. Notice they call them migrants versus illegal migrants. They argued Executive Order 14163 does not purport to revoke the refugee status of individuals who receive that status under the United States USRAP program. Trump just can't get a break with these activist judges. I'm assuming he'll have to either revoke Biden's decision, issue another executive order, or get Congress involved. As you know, several federal judges have already been subpoenaed to present themselves before Congress to be questioned. Honestly, again, I would rather that they're using our money to import affordable food than to import illegal immigrants that cost billions and billions and billions of dollars. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, please. Despite Biden's continued pull, we are still in a much better place than we were under his rule. Certain events wouldn't have occurred if Trump had been in office. A prime example of this is food, the Russia-Ukraine war, the Israel-Gaza war, and abandoning astronauts in space. Now, publicly, President Trump has been given the proper credit for getting these astronauts home. NASA spokeswoman Bethany Stevens stated, "It would not have happened without President Trump's intervention. This is a huge win for the Trump administration, and it would not have happened without President Trump. I believe he is well suited, as do 30 astronauts who wrote in support of him and multiple GOP governors, that he is suited to take the helm here at NASA to implement the president's agenda." Now, furthermore, we learned, as you know, that these astronauts were supposed to be in space for 8 days. They ended up being up there almost 9 months. My gosh, you could incubate a baby in 9 months. But I can't imagine being stuck there. Anyway, all the credit is now being given to Trump and Elon Musk for bringing these astronauts back home. Okay, yesterday I told you about how Politico journalist Jeffrey Goldberg was accidentally added to a Signal group chat. Today, Politico and others have released all of the messages that he secretly screenshot without divulging that he was in the group about Trump's planned attack on Yemen. I'm going to go ahead and show that here on the screen right now. Let me try to zoom in on this just a little bit. But I've gone through all of these, and honestly, it makes me like Mike Walls and J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller and others even more. I mean, I'm really not seeing anything. You can see very easily how all of these people care about America. They care about making America great again, and they care about protecting President Trump and fulfilling his agenda. J.D. Vance, more than anybody, really impressed me. But you'll have to go through these on your own. Brian Krasenstein is a Democrat who's obviously trying to expose this as being more than it really is. Now, I will say that there was a section where Pete Hegseth updates people on the strike details. However, these were not planned in the chat, as they are saying. This is a recap of what had happened. They're now saying it was top secret, but as of right now, the military hasn't said these were top secret. The CIA hasn't said that. Neither has the FBI, neither has the Director of National Intelligence, and neither has President Donald J. Trump. So I believe that what we are seeing is Democrats trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Yes, it was bad that this anti-Trump Democrat journalist was put into the chat by a lower level staff member for Mike Walls. However, Mike Walls has said, I accept 100% responsibility. Whatever happens, my guess is there'll be an investigation and that we will move on from this. But I know Democrats do not want to move on from this. Now, National Security Advisor Mike Walls had this to say: no location, no sources and methods, no war plans. Foreign partners had already been notified that strikes were imminent. Bottom line, President Trump is protecting America and our interests. Okay. Now, Chief Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell had this to say: it's no surprise hoax peddlers at the Atlantic. Oh, sorry, I said Politico. I meant to say Atlantic, which is funded by the wife of Steve Jobs, have already abandoned their war plan claim. These additional signal chat messages confirm there were no classified materials or war plans shared. The secretary was merely updating the group on a plan that was already underway and had already briefed them on their official channel. The American people see through the Atlantic's pathetic attempt to distract from President Trump's national security agenda. By the way, again, I read through all of these. My takeaway was, man, these guys really want President Trump to succeed, and they want America to succeed. Now, furthermore, President Trump has come out and publicly said somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had Goldberg's number, called through the app, and somehow this guy Goldberg ended up on the call. Now, it wasn't classified as I understand it. There was no classified information. There was no problem, and the attack was a tremendous success. So I can only go by what I've been told. I wasn't involved in it, but I was told by, and the other people weren't involved at all, but I feel very comfortable, actually. So I want to know from you guys, now that the messages have leaked, you can read them on the internet, you can read them on X. What is your takeaway? Was this classified information? Does this compromise national security? Or, like me, did it make you actually respect J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, Mike Walls, Stephen Miller, and others more? I'm telling you, I read through all of them, dozens and dozens and dozens. I only showed you 4. My takeaway was that this was actually a good thing. Now, this is disgusting. Democrats on the Hill are now trying to link this mistake to Pete Hegseth's drinking habits in the past. Okay, this has nothing to do with his drinking habits. In fact, it wasn't even Pete Hegseth, but you see, they hate Pete Hegseth because he threatens to block money to the military-industrial complex, and a lot of these Democrat members of Congress, they can't get reelected without military money, without spending billions and billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer money on military-related job opportunities. So what this really comes down to is they hate Pete Hegseth, but it wasn't even Pete Hegseth. It was a lower-level staffer that accidentally put this Trump-hating Atlantic journalist in the group chat. All right, now, did you know that Representative Jasmine Crockett, who called for Elon Musk to be attacked, Tesla dealerships to be swarmed, and business interrupted, laughed and cackled when Tesla stock dropped, even though the people in her area, their pensions and retirements are linked to Tesla stock? This is the same woman that called for Senator Ted Cruz to be hit multiple times, smacked over the head, and then actually physically assaulted and attacked a journalist at the Capitol. They're now saying she should be censored and removed. Now, I want to tell you more about that, but on the other side of this break. Did you know scammers can literally steal your home right out from under you? The FBI calls it house stealing, and it's a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners with equity. Criminals forge signatures on documents. They pay buy fake notary stamps, and then for a small fee at your local county office, they get their name switched to your house. They then take out a loan using your equity, and 90 to 120 days later, you find out you have a legal and financial nightmare. They've stolen your money. So when was the last time you checked your title? If, like me, the answer is never. I never even thought about this until Home Title Lock brought it to my attention. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection, immediate 24/7 monitoring on your property, urgent alerts if there's any changes. If fraud should happen, their US-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud, restore your title at no additional cost. But here's the best part. I've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim and access your personal title expert, a $250 value. Just go to HometitleLock.com and use promo code Gardner250. I'm going to leave a link down below. Again, that's HometitleLock.com, promo code Gardner250, and you should be able to get that right away. Okay, I find it interesting how Democrats often take the moral high ground, despite not being perfect themselves. Leading up to the election, they criticized President Trump for his rhetoric, yet their side was also just as guilty. Another example of this hypocrisy just played out after Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett referred to Governor Greg Abbott as Governor Hot Wheels. Now, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, was tragically injured in an accident where he was out jogging. A tree fell over and broke his spine. She stated, "I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by Black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable." Literally, the next line I said was that he was a hot ass mess, referencing his terrible policies. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition. So I'm even more appalled that the very people who unequivocally support Trump, a man known for racially insensitive nicknames and mocking those with disabilities, are now outraged. Okay, this is a total lie. She's backpedaling, right? She knows that she shouldn't have made fun of somebody in a wheelchair. Now she's trying to say, oh, this was actually about the buses that he used when he sent illegal immigrants to Black mayor areas. Boom. So now she's getting rid of the fact that she mocked someone with a disability, a handicapped person, and now making it a racial issue. So this is a racial issue, even though the cities that you claim are mostly Black, I just see as regular cities, but they declared themselves as sanctuary cities. They didn't call themselves Black cities. They called themselves sanctuary cities. That's why Governor Greg Abbott, a hero, sent those people to those sanctuary cities. Not only did Representative Jasmine Crockett insult the governor of Texas, but now she has physically attacked journalist Charles Down, a correspondent for Loomer Unleashed. Loomer went on the record saying that she violently ripped his phone out of his hand, scratched his hand with visible scratch marks, and insulted him. So this is a lady who has been calling for other people to violently attack Tesla owners and senators and others, and now she herself has attacked a journalist at the Capitol. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene had this to say: Crockett recently said her birthday wish was to take down Elon Musk. She physically threatened Senator Ted Cruz and shamefully made fun of Governor Greg Abbott being in a wheelchair. But she apparently needs a Capitol Police escort to protect herself while she makes her male staffer carry her designer handbag. Jasmine Crockett is the face of the Democrat Party, and rightfully so. And then she went on to physically attack a journalist that was asking her, do you think it's okay to call for violence against Elon Musk and Tesla? And then she violently attacked him. Unbelievable. All right, now some of you in the comments said, hey, Stephen, would you mind showing us more of these attacks on Tesla? Let me go ahead and share one with you right now. I guess this idiot forgot that Teslas are surrounded by cameras. Let's go ahead and watch this together. So this is a Tesla Model Y, completely surrounded by cameras. This guy believes he's being smart and sneaks up. The owner can see this happening in real time. This guy gets down, he tries to pop the tire, and then he starts scratching into the tire and scratching into the paint. All the meanwhile, not realizing, dude, you're literally on camera. You're sitting closer than Da Vinci was sitting to the Mona Lisa. We got you. So anyway, this gentleman, they are now pursuing him, trying to make him famous so that they can have him arrested. And guess what? When they catch this dude, he's going to jail for 20 years because this is now considered domestic terrorism, where you're not breaking into a car, you're literally vandalizing a Tesla in the name of getting back at Trump and Elon Musk. What a shame. What a shame. Too bad. All right. Thank you guys for stopping by. If you want to win one of these Make America Great hats, the link will be down below. It's ending soon. I'm going to be out of town next week, but when I get back, 50 of you are going to win one of these incredible hats flown in from Trump, from Miami. I'm excited to give those away. I'll leave those links down below. Hey, if you could, hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 2 million amazing truth seekers. Also, give this video a like, and please, please share this with family members and friends. I'm trying to get the truth out there, and you guys are my army to help spread the truth. So thank you so much. I love you. Stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.